I am so sorry, guys. If you are just joining me, I have been live for about I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, and I didn't realize that I'm actually was not live. Now I'm actually live. I'm so not used to going live, but I started this drawing. I'll go over it again um, for you guys that just joined me, so you can understand what's going on. Today I will be doing basic anatomy, in particular muscle flex from flex state to flat state, and also doing a little bit of cybernetics. But I'll probably do the cybernetic stuff tomorrow or part two of this live stream. But for now, um, since I already been going live, and you know, it wasn't well. I thought I was live and it wasn't live, so I have to do this drawing again and explain it to you guys so you people who are just joining can understand what's going on. Um, so yeah, what I did was I broke up the drawing into parts. I started off with uh, jotting down the basic joints that make up the arm. So this is joint one. I'm drawing the arm. Arm simplification. So this is joint one, joint two, joint three, and this is the hand. So whenever I draw, I always start off with the skeleton. So that is what this is. This is the skeleton right here on the right hand side. And then over here, while I'm drawing, I also think of body parts, muscles, all into shapes, basic shapes. So that is what this is over here. So this is step one. This is step two. And this is step three. If that makes sense. So I think of it as in shapes, in 3D space. Any part of the body I think of as in shapes. And then I just interlock these shapes together. Whether they be oval, square, cylinder, triangular, I just overlap them together. And this part where I got here is just that each muscle, it doesn't stay in a static state. So depending on what the muscle is doing, sometimes the muscle flex, sometimes the muscle bends, you know, interlock with each other. Sometimes the muscle tenses up. So this is what I was explaining here. Flat bicep here, flex bicep here. So let me do another example. We could do like we could just do the same thing again, but I'm gonna make it a little bit closer. So maybe this is where the shoulder is, shoulder joint, and then the bicep goes down here like that, right? Another joint is here, and then this is the forearm, very close like that. And the muscles bending this way. This is the hand, right? So I have my basic joint. Then from here, now I'm thinking about shapes. So okay, the deltoid is gonna overlap like that, right? And then the bicep is really flexing. So this is flat, this is flex. So, you know, we could draw another inflated balloon shape. and then these muscles are interlocking with each other. So then we draw another shape for the forearm here, like that, together like that, and then you could say maybe that's the forearm bone right here, and then now we're going to draw the bicep. So it's going to be another balloon under, overlapping, not necessarily overlapping, but underlapping the bicep. So it could go under like that, like so. And this is just the traps, right? So the guy's doing like, he's flexing his muscle this way. And that is just his hand. Right? So now, and then remember these traps, the arm is connected to the chest muscle, so that's why I'm drawing over here. And these are the lats right here. So now if you can't see that, now let's just break it down. So I'm going to break this down. So this is the triceps. So underlapping muscle. Let's connect that to the lats. Now when you're doing this, you don't have to know every single piece of the muscles. You just have to know the basic muscles, and then the rest you could just wing it. So now this is me just showing you the overlap and the interconnecting parts, like that. How that connects into that, and this connects into there, like so. Right? That's one muscle right there, and then on the other side. Mind you, I'm doing this pretty quickly. Alright. To help you guys see even more, again, I'll color this in so you can see. That's the bicep, the balloon here flexing. So that particular muscle is flexing. And then we draw the under muscle. Like so. Hopefully this helps you guys see what I'm talking about. Just like that. Okay. Alright, so now that is the arm. You get the general idea of my thought process when it comes to thinking about muscles and how most of all artists how they think about drawing muscles. You know, there's no one correct way of how to do this, but this is the general idea, especially when it comes to drawing from imagination. You know, you just break things down into simple shapes and you put it all together. Muscles just overlap and contract and flex, so that's pretty much it. So now let's try another body part. We're gonna do the same thing but a different body part. So should I do the quads? Hmm. Let's do. I guess we could do the should we do the back muscles? Now you know I'll do the legs because the legs is very similar to the legs are very similar to the forearms. So for anybody who's just joining, I just explained the anatomy drawing, and this is what I did. I explained how to build the muscles, how to think about building muscles, how they're interconnected with each other, how they stay in a flat state and go into a flex state. And that goes with a lot of the muscles that's in the body. So now we just did the arms, bicep, triceps. Now we're gonna do the legs with the quadriceps. Okay, so now it's gonna be the same thing. I start off, let's just do the front view, which is the easiest. So start off with the joints. So that's what this circle is. There's another joint right there. We could just say that's even like a bone kneecap muscle. Just like that. We go down. Okay, so we go down. There's another joint right here where the foot muscles are gonna be. Let's just say this is part of the foot right there. Okay, so there you go. That's a basic leg. So now this side we're gonna think about the same thing again, but now we're gonna think about them in shapes. So this quadricep is just one big shape like this, like a cylinder. Just like that, and it connects to the joint right there, and then you have another shape like so, and then you have another shape for the foot, right? Hope you guys can see that. So, step one. Step two. Now this is going to be step three over here. So now I'm going to think about the same thing. I'm going to put it all together. Let's say this is a joint right here. This is where the kneecap muscle bone is. Femur. And this is where the foot muscles. Let's just say something like that. Right, something like that. So now I'm just putting it all together. Right? So something like this. So I'm going to draw it again. Go over it so you guys can see how the muscles interlock with each other. Okay. So now this is one piece of the muscle right here of the quads. This muscle kind of goes down in there. Follow where this muscle goes. Right? Now we have these muscles over here. Interlocking shapes. Overlapping. These are like two different shapes overlapping here. And there's another shape right there. Guys, if you're just joining me, I am drawing the anatomy. I explained what I did here. You're gonna have to go back and watch this. So this is just the basic steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3. From the joints, thinking of it in shapes and putting it all together and how the muscles overlap each other, how they flex and stay flat like a balloon, like air pumping in each individual muscles, and I explain how they all connect to each other when it comes to drawing them. So that was step 1, or drawing 1, and this is pretty much drawing 2 that I'm doing, and I'm working on the foot if you just joined me. So I'm basically doing the same thing. That's all it is, the same thing here. Not thinking about details, so you guys can see. Right? The quads, this big giant muscles right here. It's like one long football, and it overlaps the other muscles, and it goes down like connected. What I was explaining before is that you don't have to know all the major muscle. I mean, all the muscles that's in the body. You just have to know the basic muscle groups, and then from there you just wing it. It's just shapes overlapping each other. That's all it is. So, so I'm just highlighting it so you guys can see. How these muscles overlap each other. And sometimes you don't even need like you don't even need reference because you could just wing it and just put it all together just like that. Now we could do the same thing from the back. It's pretty much the same. So if I was doing the back, again, you plot it out, draw the joints first. Okay, let me make this a little bit longer. That's like the knee joint right there. Then you go down. This is where the foot, the base of the foot is. Alright, so something like that, right? This time I'm going to start from the bottom, so these quadriceps, not quads, yeah, these quads, just like a cylinder, a really long cylinder, and an interconnect overlapping other muscles. So like that. This goes up. This is gonna be another cylinder here. I don't even know what the muscles is called, but I'm just overlapping them together. Right? So, and this is gonna be the quads right here. Another long cylinder that's overlapping the inner quad right there. And there you go, you have a back foot right there. That simple. Back foot. Right? So now I'm gonna draw this out so you guys can see. Outline it. That's one muscle right there. That's the cylinder I was talking about for the back leg. The quad goes in here. That's one muscle right there. That's overlapping the front muscles, and it goes down just like that. Right? Okay. Where is... Alright, so then now we're drawing the muscles that's on top. Again, another cylinder that's elongated, that overlaps another cylinder. That's all it is when it comes to drawing muscles. Shapes overlapping other shapes. That's all it is. Shapes overlapping other shapes. Now that's a back leg. Now to help you see this even more, I'm gonna highlight off the major muscle groups. So again, so like that. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Just like that. You don't really see this pop out now. You see that? And then you'll be able to see the inner muscles in between them. That's the overlapping taking place. Yep. Just like that. And there you have it. There you go. So I drew the muscles overlapping each other, interlocking with each other. This pretty much makes up like the basic idea of how to draw muscles. You know, if you're just joining me, I'm drawing basic anatomy. I'm not drawing any of the cybernetics yet. I'm gonna save that for part 2 of the stream. But if I show you what I did before, if you're just joining me, this is part 1. I already explained how to build this up together. So you first, step 1, you plot out the joints. Step 2, you think of each joints as simple shapes. Then from there, you connect and overlap the shapes together, which I did, which is step 3. And I color coded so you can see how each of the shapes, interlock, flex, and go from a flex state to a flat state. Like each muscle is not just flat. They, depending on what the person or the character is doing, is going to determine what the muscles are doing. Muscles just don't stay the same shape all the time. Depending on how much weight the person is carrying, if they're pulling or pushing, the muscles are gonna change. So whenever you're drawing, you gotta just keep that in mind. So part 2 is the same thing, but I didn't do any flexing really. I mean, I could draw a flex one. I'll probably do it on another page to show you how the muscles, but it's pretty much the same principle. So let's say if I was to draw right here, the leg bending like that, right? This is the kneecap joint. This is the kneecap joint. This is where that leg, the socket of the leg, goes into the body, right? This muscle, this is the like the femur bone, and then the foot, it's gonna go down this way, right? Not thinking about too much details. That's the foot. This is a really short leg though, but anyway, just to explain, just like the bicep, these quads, they're going to start off, they're going to flex. Let's say the guy is really muscular. They're going to flex like that and overlap each other. So the muscle's gonna do this. Let's say it's a really in shape guy. The same thing. So these overlap muscles, just like that. Now, if I was to, let's say, if I was to, I'm gonna show you how these overlap. Again, just like the bicep. This muscle is going to be flexing like so. Right? And then it's going to be overlapping. This is the bone, this is the muscle right here. This is the under muscle. Alright, just like that. Overlap muscles. Now, since he's in motion, and let's say that he's, I don't know, doing like he's a kickboxer, like Sagat from Street Fighter. You know, he's doing like a tiger knee. You know, that's gonna show in the muscles when he flexes that muscle. So everything is going to be reacting to his motion and wherever the pressure is. So even if the pressure is here, boom, he needs somebody in the head. This muscle is gonna flex up, just like how I drew it there. So these quads, the biggest muscle, the quads are like, yeah, they're the biggest muscle. Actually, the heart is the strongest muscle, but the quads are, I think, the biggest muscle in the body. So this will help you see what I mean. These are the muscles overlapping each other. Just like that. Just like that. So this will help you see. So boom, this guy is knocking, I don't know, it could be a bag, it could be a head, anything. A wall. He's kicking or knocking it, but this muscle right here is gonna flex because of the pressure, and his muscle flexing, getting ready to hit that wall. So that's what I mean by the muscles don't stay one shape when you're drawing them. You know, depending on what they do, they're gonna flex or stay flat. You know, so that's pretty much the same concept that applies to most of the body, you know, when it comes to drawing the body. So that's pretty much it. That is the basic introduction to anatomy, constructive drawing. I will be doing more. I will be doing more to explain it a lot better. Again, if you just joined me, I explained to everybody in part 1 of this drawing of how to do, just to recap, this is like the 3rd time I'm recapping for you guys, so you guys can see. Step 1, you draw the plot, you plot out the joints. Step 2, you create the simple shapes. Step 3, you overlap the shapes together, and that's pretty much what I did. Also, depending on what the muscles are doing or what the person's doing, the muscles are either flat or they're going to be flexed. When they flex, that's pretty much blood rushing to that particular muscle to show definition. So if the person is punching, that muscle is going to be flexing. If they're lifting something, it's going to be flexing. If it's relaxed, if they're not doing anything, then you draw the muscles flat like that. Flex, flat. So if you think about this with each muscle group in the body, your drawings will look more realistic. So the same thing, like I was saying, applies to this, the legs. So every muscle group. So this is it flat. They overlap in each other. Well, the steps that I have here again, jot out the points, the joints, proportions. Then step 2, you think of the muscles as simple shapes. That's what I have here. Then from simple shapes, you go into overlapping the shapes together. And depending on how it looks, so they're like usually oval, elongated. But if the muscle is flexing or doing any kind of lifting, they're gonna flex. You know, so that's why I have here the guy's doing like a Street Fighter Sagat Tiger knee, and his quads are gonna flex up whenever, depending on where the impact is. So that's what I'm doing there. So that's all you have to really think of. The muscles, think of them as simple shapes interlocking with each other, and depending on what they're doing, that's going to define how the muscle looks. Because if you're lifting something, it's going to flex, So where the blood is going to be rushing into that muscle. So you got to think of each muscle as also like a balloon. You let out the water, it's flat. You put the water in, it flexes up. So that's pretty much it. So in part 2, I will be doing I'm going to be doing the cybernetic parts. So this is just the basics. After I get over the basics, then I'm going to do some more with the cybernetics. Like, how do I turn these drawings into like robot-ish drawings? And it's going to be the same. Like, it's going to be the same to turn this into a cybernetic drawing. Like, let's say, I'll do one example. Even though this is just a preview of what part 2 of this of the next stream is going to be. So let's say I want to change. Let's say I do another leg, or this leg, another leg here, right? I'm not even gonna do it in pencil. I'm doing it in pen. The same thing. That's the joint. The knee joint there, and this leg goes down. Another joint for the foot. Right? Now, this is a preview to the cybernetic parts. Now, let's say I'm doing the same thing, the same principle, thinking of the muscles as shapes. Okay? So how do you turn these shapes into something that's cybernetic? Now, if you're doing anime, you're going to use simple shapes. If you're doing something more realistic, it's going to be more complicated shapes. So let's just say, I don't know, if it's like anime-ish, it might be something like the same thing like that. If it's like a robot leg, something like that. And then we can make, like, let's just say another cylinder here. Now this is me just making it very simple as I can so you guys can see what I'm doing. right? And then again, overlapping shapes. Let's just make like his femur like a cylinder. Let's just say something like that, right? So now we already have like a robotic leg. I'm gonna keep it simple now, but this is just the general idea of what stream 2 is gonna be when I get to stream 2. And then from here, you know, you can even just add pieces like just again muscles overlapping each other, so shapes overlapping each other. So I'm gonna draw another cylinder on top like that. You know, maybe there's a shape that comes off, or maybe even a wire that comes off there and that's connected. Just like that. Another overlap shape. Just like that. And already this is starting to look like a cybernetic type of leg, even though I'm just keeping it very simple. Just like that. This is a basic general idea of how I'm going to do stream 2, but again, so now I'm making the leg more cybernetic, more robotish, just by blocking simple shapes and overlapping them together. So I'm going to go a little bit more in depth in stream 2, but this is just the general idea, you know, so to help you see, I could just block these shapes out. So this is one big shape right here, right? So you can see what I'm doing. And then this shapes, you have overlapping shapes here. That's one overlapping shape, that's another one. That's another overlapping shape. Another one is here. Just like that. So you sort of have a cybernetic leg right there. Stream 2, I will go more in depth on this subject. But once again, as always, thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the new subscribers that subscribed lately to my channel. I will be doing more fun things like this since we're getting close to the the CyberPunk launch. I decided to do more cyberpunkish, cybernetics, cyberspace, however you want to call it, type of drawings. So, but this is just the basics. So mixing anatomy with cybernetics. I'm gonna go a little bit more in depth in stream 2. I'll do another stream just like this and call it stream 2 for you guys. A little bit more in depth, but this is just the basics. This is just part 1. Part 2, we're gonna build up on this and do more robotic cybernetic drawings and keeping it simple but a little bit more complex for people who's already know all the basic stuff already. So yeah, again, thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate it, and I catch you guys on the next one. Good night, and I'll check you guys later.